Ethan and I have been tackling the van and knocking out a lot of the projects that we needed to get finished before we start framing and insulating and all the build process. So the repair process has been taking place and we're almost done. We have a few more small things to do. We have windows that we need to figure out where we're going to cut those out, and many different things such as that. We have to put a fan in the roof, and we still have to finish the roof seam. So I will be making a video about how to do that and what we're doing to accommodate so there's no more leaks in the roof. There's a few things that we're going to do up there, and one of those being the Yakima box over here. So I bought a Yakima rocket box off Facebook Marketplace used. It's in really good condition and it's really spacious. Quite a bit of height here. It goes all the way down here. It's like a deep dish. Let me unlock it and show you what it looks like from the inside. So gotta unlock it and your key is stuck in there. And it will open on either side. So technically I probably will be opening the other side more. You have all of this room to like maybe about 5 to 6 inches down from where you see it all the way down, and then all the way up for about, I don't know, 10 to 12 inches up. So what I'm planning on doing is housing all of our clothing, not permanently, but just for travel, so we have more room in the van. We'll see what happens with that. We may have other stuff in here as well. I think this could hold, 3 to 4 duffel bags, and then we might have room for other stuff like long items or just different outdoor gear that you might need, extension cords, things like that. I want to have a lot of storage that we can kind of just forget about. That way the van's not so cluttered. We are going to have cabinets in the van, but that's going to be for dishes and other things, maybe daily clothing or what we're going to wear the next day, depending on how we do all that. But today we finished filling up these holes with some JB Weld steel sticks. The medium size holes, we got all of those filled. It's already hard, so I basically could probably sand this right now. We have some lap sealant along the little holes here. That's drying right now. And we've repainted the floor, and we still have to touch up these spots here because I had to sand them down so this would stick. So that's just a simple sanding and rolling of paint to finish that. So I installed some sound deadening material on the wheel wells today. That turned out really well. There's a couple places I had to patch. You might not even be able to notice it, but you'll never see this whenever we get the framing up and the walls up, of course. But this is a big proponent to sound coming into the van, so you want to try to deaden that as much as you can. Of course, I'm going to have insulation in many different places. I'm also going to put some of this material down the indentions and parts like that, so I'll cut strips and finish all that, as well as I will be adding them to the ceiling. If you see the ceiling up here, I spent days removing all that red stuff right there from the ceiling. I have so many days of footage of me just going in and cleaning all of this up. We've cleaned all of that up, preparing the roof to get repaired because there's some leaky seams. You'll see some rust spots right here. We're going to fix all of that and use some of the holes for access points for cables. We are going to really clean the van up before we even put a drop of wood on the walls. Now the floor, we're getting pretty close to where we could start laying the flooring. We just have a few more places to fix. I want to get that side door right here replaced and fixed before we do anything else with the walls, but we're getting close to that stage where we're going to start installing windows. When you walk into the door, there's going to be a counter right here on the side. That's where our sink's going to be, and then some counter space. And then when you turn over here, this is where our oven's going to be and our storage cabinet for all of our electrical. The electrical is going to be right behind the seat because that's the shortest run for a power cable for the battery, the car battery to the house battery. Okay, you guys are going to see a bunch of stuff here, lots of stuff going on. But the main part of this video that I'm going to do today is unbox the DC to DC charger and the solar charge controller. I kind of want to get these out of the box anyways, so I've been waiting to do this, and today's the day. I need my knife, and let's grab the DC to DC charger. You're going to notice some things here. I started crimping my connections onto my big wire. I've never crimped connections on big wire like this. This is 2/0. And then I have 4/0 over here, which is really thick. And I have all the connectors for everything. And I have the little crimping tool. Mechanism works really well. I bought another one. Same company. More expensive. But this one's actually way better. I was surprised. But that's what you use to crimp the big cables. And I'll do a video about all that one day. Maybe separate videos about things as well. Had to buy a 4-pound sledgehammer, which I got the East Wing, which is supposed to be one of the best. But I needed it to be able to crimp these thick cables so the connection doesn't come off. So I'm running 2/0 to my 12 volt, which is probably overkill, but I decided that's going to be the best for me. I'm going to run a diesel heater, vent fan, LEDs, switches, USBs, a lot of things. I've added it all up. And I may have to install a second 12 volt panel. I got all different size cable. This is not just it. I have more, and I have all kinds of stuff over there in those 2 boxes to get this whole process started. So first thing we're going to do is unbox the 60 amp DC to DC battery charger by Renogy. This is supposed to be a pretty good piece of tech here. So basically what this does is it allows your car to charge your leisure batteries, so your van batteries, the batteries that are going to be in the van. I have 2 of them right now, 280 amp hours for 560 amp hours total, but I'm doing 900 watts of solar, 60 amp solar charge controller. So this is going to be connected between the car battery and the van house battery, so we'll have the capability of charging the house battery while we drive, which is a pretty big thing. And this is a 60 amp, and I need a 60 amp because my batteries are so big. I estimated it's probably going to be like 8 hours of driving to fully charge my battery bank, and if we are that low, we're going to have other means of charging as well. I am looking at getting a multi-plus, which is another piece of equipment, which is an inverter charger, so you'll have like house plugs, but this is for charging while you drive. Let's get in here and look at this bad boy. So here we go. Ooh, I like the blue. That's nice. Okay, now these dip switches mean something. I think it might have something to do with lithium. This is so you can plug in a sensor and monitor what's going on here to house. So this goes from your starter battery to your house. So let's get the solar charge controller. Hey Luke, what's up buddy? You're not in these videos very often because you're out exploring, aren't you? Yeah. So here is the information for the MPPT solar charge controller. Okay, this one, I'm going to be honest, I've already unboxed and looked at and read the instructions and all of that. This is a big boy too. This is bigger than the battery charge, the DC to DC charger. But not bigger than the multi-plus, and this one has a temperature sensor with it. The Renogy didn't come with a temperature sensor. Okay, here we go. Now I've left I think this has a screen protector on it. We're not going to peel that off yet, not till the end. But here we go. This comes off and there's some connections here where you connect your cables. Solar panel and battery, and then it has a DC load port which you can run to a light in your cabinet or a fan in your cabinet. I think it's 10 amps max, so you could actually probably run a light and a fan just off this. Now all of these will tell you different things. We'll get there eventually, but you'll have a bunch of information on here telling you what kind of power is coming in from your solar panels. This is also 60 amp and 900 watts of solar, 60 amp of power coming in. That's max, so we should be doing pretty good. Now we are planning to do 2 queen beds in here, or 2 beds that are as wide as the van, or as wide as we can make it. Now the top bunk, we're going to build a system to where we can raise it up electronically so that we have a adjustable upper bed, which means, whenever you get out of the top bunk, you can just leave all your stuff up there, pillows and sheets and everything. Down here is where my wife and I are going to sleep. We're going to have a platform that goes across here, and that's going to be a fixed platform, but it is going to convert into 2 couches. So we'll have 2 couches running the length here. Underneath of them, there will be storage. Since I'm not going to have any of my electrical stuff in the back of the van, I will have empty storage, but I will have some water tanks back here. The one that goes over the wheel well is pretty expensive, but we are going to have a water tank over here, and then over here will probably mainly be storage, and we may have like a hot water tank thing here for an outdoor shower to be able to, clean the bikes, clean yourself, things like that. But I do like the ability to maybe have a couch on each side of the van and then a table in the middle so we can kind of eat or play games or things like that, or just hang out. TV is most likely going to go up here somewhere. We are going to build a shelf for the bulkhead right here, so we'll have a place to shove all of our window covers, and I'm going to also have a security system in here with 8 cameras, so I have all that in a box, and I'll show you that in a future video. And I also have all the electrical components to build out lighting and all that to wire the van. All the cabling that we need, we have. The only thing we don't have is the inverter charger, which we will get pretty soon, and that will allow us to charge our batteries from a campsite and a house, for instance. Now we did install a plug on the outside of the van. I did get some overspray, so it's not entirely black anymore, but I don't really care what it looks like. We're just going to be using it for emergency purposes if we need it. We could technically plug our electronics straight into here as long as we have an extension cord, which currently there is power running to that. We have our extension cord here, and it runs up to the van. So this was leaking at one point whenever I installed it. The seal didn't actually seal it, so I put lap sealant, and all I had was white, so kind of looks bad for the most part. I may go over it with some black later, but for now it's sealed and it works and allows us to have a little bit of power in the van. So my electrical cabinet's going to go basically right in this section. We're going to have a cabinet that's going to go across here, and this is going to be kind of like storage for from the outside, so like hoses, extension cords, things like that. We're going to be doing something with this section here. That's our next big project, I believe, and let me grab that and show it to you. Now this door is going to be used on the outside of the van, so it unlocks. The reason why I got a big door is because from the outside of the van against the wall, we're going to cut a bigger hole here, get rid of all of this rust. There's a bunch of rust up here, and this right here is all rusted. So we're going to cut a hole out here, just like this, and this should actually cover all of the rust area, hopefully, most of it. It's a little bit taller than the box that's out there, and a little bit wider than the box that's out there, and we can go look at that next. And here we are on the outside of the van. You can see there's some bubbling here, and down here it looks like this is rust. So when we get in here and remove this, this is basically going to cover all that up. So we're getting rid of all the rust, basically. There's some down here as well, and then you saw the inside. Basically we're going to go from the side here and then cut around. So this is essentially coming out, and this is replacing that. It is a pretty big door, but it looks like it fits pretty good with the van, and we are painting the van blue, so this is going to look nice next to that. But that's going to go there. Again, it will open up like this. Try not to scratch my van while I'm doing this. And then we will have a hole here where we can access, you know, whatever is in this little cabinet, and that's our goal. And extension cords, things like that. Whatever I want to throw in here that I can grab real quick when I get out of the van. Maybe umbrellas, tarps, things like that. So basically I'm going to put this up against some cardboard, draw around this outer edge for my template. I'm going to tape the template up here and draw around it, and then we'll drill relief cuts around the rounded parts and where we want to start cutting, kind of make the template. And we'll go around with a jigsaw. I got metal cutting blades for that, and make a hole here, a bigger hole. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll drill this way, and then we'll come back through from the outside in. That way I know where to put it. And then we'll clean up the edge and paint. And Ethan's getting ready to come out here to sand, I believe, so we'll be doing that too. Okay, so this 2-inch hole saw will cut a hole for this to fit in, and then we'll feed our wires through the van. This is the waterproof ring right here, and it pops out and allows you to access that, but it also waterproofs the back, so no leaks happen. Then once we get our 2-inch hole out, we'll run this and then drill our screws in to secure it in place. First thing we're going to do though is cut this out. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best spot for it. I want to decide though, like where I want to put it on the outside though. So we'll be going somewhere around here. There we go. Yeah, this is all the stuff I just removed from the ceiling. If I go right here, is that going to look weird? I don't think so. Then it'll be in between the slider and it won't interfere. So I think if I go right up in the middle of the wheel well, I'll be good, and I'll probably come out somewhere around here. Well guys, I forgot to hit record. I did the whole thing. I might have got some of it, I don't know. But I did the deburring tool, cleaned that all out, and then I painted it. You can see some of the residual paint there. Make sure it's good. So I'm letting that dry, and then I had the plug ready. And I don't even know what you guys saw. Stupid camera. This is going to go here, and we'll get that centered correctly and all that. We want this to be just like that, and we want our screws to go through just like this so that it squeezes that to the metal. Okay, we're going to put the plug in the van for the first time. Just like that, and this goes just like that. Need to make sure the watertight seal is there. I think that looks good. Pretty lined up. Okay, so then I'm going to take this, get it right in the middle, and bam. And that should get me pretty close to where I want for my first screw. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're going to screw that in after we get the rest of them in. good. Okay, let's go get our extension cord. This is gonna go right here. I need to pop that out. That. Okay, I'm now feeding my extension cord over. Ethan's sanding, so it's getting a little loud. But we're gonna take the excess part of the cord and tie it up somewhere around here. So this will plug into the side of the van, like so. So it is the middle of March. We've been working on this thing for a couple months now, and we've got a lot done in a pretty short period of time. Thanks to Ethan for helping me out and always wanting to come out here and work on it. That's pretty cool. I'm incredibly excited about getting this finished so we can go explore and ride the e-bikes at other places. That's the ultimate goal. And we'll get to a point where we can go out and do a test camp. I just want to make sure I have like things in place to where it makes sense for us to go out. We could bring in an inflatable bed or something. I have a little camp stove that I can bring, at least for 2 people maybe for now. We could also sleep maybe 4 people, just all on the floor right here. We'll see. The van's been running great. I've been driving it a lot, and I enjoy driving it. I don't know why, but it's fun. Usually when I get something done, I'll go drive it around for a little bit, so I'll probably take it for a drive tonight. I want to see if that made any difference. We are going to put curtains up to kind of drown out the noise maybe when we're driving and it's just 2 people. So we are planning on putting a passenger seat here as well, maybe a bench seat. I would like to get one that folds up. So the cabinets are probably going to be held up for a little bit before we figure out what we're going to do with seating here. We are going to have to put in brackets and things like that. I would like to be able to remove them and fold them up out of the way. I know there are some bus seats that you can get that are bench seats with little arms that lay down, and then they actually fold up and go up to the wall. They're kind of hard to find, so I'm looking for something like that. If you guys know of anybody that's selling a bus seat, let me know.